Hi, and welcome to Australia's first Let's Talk Tiny Houses podcast. My name is Christine, and ever since laying eyes on my first tiny house, I wanted to know more about the movement, the lifestyle, the communities, and most of all, how I can go tiny. While on my tiny journey, gathering information and meeting amazing like-minded people, I started thinking, apart from my business, how could I contribute back to the movement? Then I was introduced to podcasting, and that was my light bulb moment. I'm so thrilled that through this podcast, I am able to bring you an amazing cast of co-hosts who all bring their own unique skills, knowledge, and advice to each episode. All of us are extremely passionate about the tiny house movement and want to share our experience, expertise, and enthusiasm with our listeners. Each week, we will bring you a special guest interview or particular hot topic discussion that relates to tiny living for your listening pleasure. Okay, let's jump in and find out who we have with us this week. Okay, so hi everyone and welcome to this week's episode of Let's Talk Tiny Houses. I'm so excited this week. I've got Peter from Black Rabbit Espresso with me, and as everyone knows, I'm really interested in businesses. So when I was driving along Musgrove Road the other week and I saw this gorgeous little van just staring at me like a little light bulb, I was like, I must find out who this is. And here we are. So Peter's given up his time tonight to come and speak with me and fill us in on his tiny journey and his business tiny journey. So I'll hand it over to Peter. And Peter, if you just let us know where the business is at the moment, and then we can sort of work backwards from there and find out where it all started and your inspirations.
Okay, well, thanks again for the invitation, Christine.
You're welcome.
Where we are at the moment, we're probably really excited and happy to say that, we've had, a year and nearly a year and a half in the van. It's been exceptional from day one, even though we really didn't know what the van really had to produce. It was myself basically, and now it's growing into a smaller team. The business has been fantastic. The van is awesome. It's held up so well, and I think what we've found is that by having this little oasis and this little van that stands out on what's one of the busiest roads in Brisbane, is that people that haven't seen us yet are talking to other people about this van. So they recognise it, they see it, and everyone's been so wonderful with their comments, and it's drawn a lot of customers in. I think that's so true that if you make something attractive, people will come. So
Definitely. Well, that's what I spotted. I was driving along in probably about 3:00, so there would have been the schools around there going out, the kids all getting picked up. It was busy, and like literally, you were like this shining little beacon over it, and you say oasis.
Yeah.
Over there, I was like, oh, look at it. Oh, I say cute. It's so cute. It's so cute. I need to find out what's happening over there. How did they start? And so if we go back to how it all started, roughly a year and a half ago, Black Rabbit Espresso, where did the name come from?
Right, okay. Well, probably it's probably changed a little bit over the course of time, like good stories do.
Yes.
But essentially, the idea, I suppose, was the black and the rabbit. The rabbit being sort of a magician's, main tool, and people talk about magic involved with coffee. It's this mysterious, brew that how do people make it so good? So the rabbit was sort of the magician's hat, and the black being like the dark arts, similar to your pink sheet towels,
Yes.
the Black Rabbit. So the black sheep, the Black Rabbit, a combination of the two. We just, I wanted something that I felt had a bit of a story to it, and not just a couple of catchy words that work together. And yeah, that's fundamentally that's really how the Black Rabbit sort of brand, sort of came about from that idea. And then it was a brand and not a business.
That's right. So just before we've met tonight, and we were having a big talk just before, and you were letting me know how you actually started.
I transitioned from an occupation of 20 years in creative services that involves some marketing as well, dealing with brands, and I had an opportunity to get into an industry, coffee, that I was all excited about, but really not that excited or interested about doing a cafe. But I thought, what are my options? And one of them was, obviously online's very popular. Can I create a brand and work with a mentor and a mate who taught me everything about coffee, and also is my supplier, and develop the blend that we use. And we thought, let's try to develop a brand for just doing online sales, not selling out of a van at all. With the skills I already had, that seemed to be complementary, whereas I had never worked in a cafe, never been involved with cafes. So I was very apprehensive and didn't really think that was the direction I wanted to go. Mm-hmm. But that changed.
It did. Then what did it change into?
Oh, it changed. It changed. It sure did. So really, we first started and it wasn't the caravan. It was even smaller than the caravan. It was just a little gull-winged, coffee cart on the same site, but not in the same location. And that was all about me saying, well, if I brand this up and give some visibility to it, people will see it, and then I'll work on the online sales, And probably within about 3 months of working it, and through probably the worst part of the year, early morning winters, starting back in July of 2017, I've started realising this hospitality side of it and this making coffee side, I actually really enjoy it. It's something that I like. What I didn't like was getting rained on and freezing to death and being so exposed to the elements, and very soon realised if I'm to go to the next level and continue to do what I'm doing, keeping it very simple, all about coffee, was to make a tiny home or a tiny dwelling
business.
To a tiny business.
Yes.
Exactly. And that was it got me ticking over after those 3 months, and then we talked briefly about where I went and who I engaged with.
Yes. So you had a friend.
I do.
You could
he
call
still
him.
is a friend, I believe.
Oh, excellent.
Because he's trying to get me to build another one, but yeah.
So we'll talk about that. So you are looking at expanding.
Look, to a degree, I'm not actively searching. We talked about what the business means to me, and that obviously for me, from our conversation, I'm not in it for money. So the idea of expanding, to me almost feels like, is it to try and get more money? What am I expanding for at the moment? I feel like I don't need to, but. Anyway, to digress back to a friend of mine. So he works in the industry of refurbing caravans. I knows how they're fully constructed and how to build one. So I had a chat with him. I'd identified a space on the block which is quite small, where we're currently located on Musgrave Road, and it was very limiting to the size. So I looked at other caravans and other options, containers, the sorts, and none of them really lent themselves to the size that I needed, and the ones that did looked quite not bland or plain, And so I had a chat with him, and he said, I can make you one of these. All we need is basically an 8x5 trailer, and I'll build it from there. And then, so along with that, I was involved with the build. I helped in the construction. You've seen some of the photos.
Yes, I have.
I think I'm even in a few to sort of prove that I was there. And so the design side of it, I sort of winged a lot of it. I knew the space that we had to work with, but I didn't really know the equipment and how everything was going to fit in. So I just got the fundamentals of, fridge sizes are fairly standard and bench heights are fairly standard and depths are fairly standard. So I started going, okay, these are the things that we need to, and then the regulations with regards to council regulations, sink sizes and, other things. So just started piecing those together and then working with the materials that I thought would look fantastic, timber, the nice white, finish on the van on the outside and inside's a fiberglass, so it's extremely durable, can be wiped down, and then the back wall of it is a pressed metal. So that's the two of us over the course of, I think it was about 3 months. Eventually finished it just before Christmas of 2017 and had it on site in January 2018, early January.
What a great way to start the year. Yeah. That's awesome.
So it was very exciting, and to look at the photos of the before in the coffee cart to the little caravan is just amazing. And even now, other than to talk to someone like you about the coffee cart, I tend to forget that time because that was when I was thinking of a business based around building a brand about selling coffee online. Once the caravan came, then that was all about having this business that provided, a great product, a beautiful little setting and surrounding for our customers to drop in, and hopefully some nice little 30-second conversation before they take off and head off, to work or wherever.
Yeah. So just to really explain that, you had just set up with the coffee cart as a visual aid to your online business. So you just wanted something interesting for people to see and draw them to your online sales for coffee beans.
Absolutely.
And then,
It was that's exactly what I wanted. And I mean, there was reasons why I was on that site and access to it, and then reasons why I didn't go to a caravan initially, and that was because there was no tenants on the site, and I wasn't in a situation where I was going to invest money and put it into a location that at any minute a tenant could, take up residence and I'd get booted. Mm. So I had to wait and see. The caravan was what I wanted, and I wanted the look of it and the aesthetics. But it was also because I could also hook it up, and if everything didn't work out, then I could, cut it off site.
Yes. So have you taken it off site before? Has it travelled?
It's never travelled. It travelled to the site, and it's been there ever since. And I've had a lot of inquiries on if I'm available for events, and please, can you set one up here? Can you, but it's fixed. It's there, as permanent as I can have it. We've got wonderful, head tenants that we lease from, and we've got a great relationship. So from that side, hopefully we'll be around for a long time. Mm. And we don't want to change the way it looks, or anything. We don't need to. It is perfect.
It is
for our business.
Mm.
Small things that it doesn't matter what size business you've got. There's always going to be little issues that with space and how something works. It's almost impossible to get things perfect, but it's probably good that, sometimes with a smaller place, it makes you think a bit more simplistic about things. Mm. You don't overclutter. You try and make everything so that it's in a logical place, because you can reach everything. I can reach almost one end of the van to the other with my arms fully outstretched. Yeah. So, there's very few places I can't go with taking one step, and I can grab something that I need. And that makes it a very efficient little space.
Yeah. So that's what we love about tiny homes. Everything sparks joy in there. Everything in your home or your business has a purpose, and it's essential. Mm. You love it. There's not just things willy-nilly here and there, and everything has a purpose, has its place, and it just has to be there. So
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's the beauty of, I think, that sparking joy. Well, that's a great space for doing that. Not only, because we are so much closer to our customers, and our little team has this, has what seems to be an invisible barrier, so our customers and ourselves can interact quite easily. But that small little space, we don't have it cluttered up with anything that's not essential, because there isn't room for anything that's not essential. And we very quickly work out the things that are and aren't. If we've introduced something, more than likely something's got to go. That's just
one in, one out.
That's it. Absolutely.
Oh, that's great. Let's talk about the actual van. And were there any, you'd mentioned that you'd started with sort of the basics, that you'd build on the bench heights, depths, fridge sizes, and then your regulations for the council, sinks and things like that. Were there any, have you had to buy a really specific coffee machine, or was there anything that you had to customize because it would only fit in that space or only work in that space?
No, not really. I think that's where we were able to avoid, because I think customizing can often end up being an expensive thing. The manufacturing of the cabinets was probably one of the few things that, and the rear bench depth, just by the limitations, we knew the front bench would be a standard, so standard, bench width and bench height, because the fridges that we use below are just, a standard sort of, bar fridges, so they just need to have that clearance and the depth. But the back bench needed to be a bit narrower than a standard sort of bench, and so that cabinetry was all built again by Kerry, who built the van. I didn't make any significant changes to heights or depths. The coffee machine and equipment that operates in there is either commercial based for its application, or some of it's domestic, but it's, the sizings that we used were we kept it fairly standard.
So what do you love most about your tiny business, the van in particular? What I know from our conversations, you love that it promotes a relationship with your clients, or with your customers. It's almost like they're going to a friend's house, like just popping over to their mate's house and grab a coffee, catch up. And
absolutely, I think it doesn't matter what age you are, and this is probably, we have kids that beg their parents to stop when they want to have a look at it, and two, maybe they get a free marshmallow every now and then, but it's just it attracts people straight away, whether it's it's a little bit fairy tale to see probably the shape of the van, and that it doesn't look like a traditional old van, so it's got that slightly bespoke sort of feel about it, and the landscaping and the location that it's on, it looks like it's on a little island. It's got a palm tree, so the thing, when I refer to being an oasis, it's like a little island on there, and it just attracts people to it. It attracts people not only to come and have a coffee, but to initiate conversation. Some of it that I wasn't initially aware of, but over time realised that a lot of our customers move within minutes almost, each day through our business. So, if they come through at 8:05 on a Monday, they're generally around 8:05 again on the Tuesday. And so we'll have a lot of people that end up coming to us at the same time that didn't know each other, that all of a sudden start having these little conversations, overhearing a conversation, and they start their own little relationships at Black Rabbit. We haven't seen anyone start off a relationship and end up getting married yet. But I'm sure with time, there'll be two people that say, hey, we met here and this is where our life went from there. And that would be a pretty amazing story.
Yeah.
can't guarantee it will happen, but
I'm
that's
sure it will.
the fairy tale.
Yeah.
But that relationship with our customers, I think, when you have a tiny business, a very cute, I think is what the term most people use. Doesn't matter, male, female, child, grandparent. Everyone says it's so cute. It just attracts people. It's like a magnet. Even they just can't help themselves. They gotta drop in and have a look.
And it's a perfect blend of, you probably have a lot of older clients coming, I remember having a little van or having some sort of memory of a van in their past when they were younger, and it brings back these memories. And then with younger people, it's like, it's so cool, it's so trendy, so funky, like there's not another one around. And so you're really capturing such a wide audience. And
so true. That's right. I mean, we've used a pressed metal on the back, which gives it sort of that turn of the century sort of look of it, that a lot of the older people sort of see it and they go, wow, I remember seeing that when I was a kid somewhere. And then the younger generation today come in and just like, that looks amazing, I haven't seen that before. It's like, well, it's been around for a long time, but so things like that, it definitely appeals to such a wide demographic from that side.
It's so great. And what I'm going to do is come along and take some pictures one day with the van with you, and all the things we're talking about, the pressed metal and all the coffee machine, everything. We'll put them on the Facebook page so all the listeners can go on and have a little look as well, so they'll know what we're talking about. And if you wanted to give yourself a little plug, let everyone know where exactly they can get to Black Rabbit. Yes.
Absolutely. So as we've mentioned, we're on Musgrave Road at Red Hill. We're on the inbound, traffic side to the city, number 43. And as I mentioned, we share the property with another tenant, White Lily Couture. So we've got a car parking space. We our service to try and improve our speed of service. We have a text ahead service, and you can even prepay. So time seems to be the issue. A lot of people that haven't had an opportunity to stop, or the ones that have after a long period of time, the first thing they've said is, I just haven't had time to stop. I've been wanting to, and then once they've stopped, and we've explained to them, you can text ahead, you can prepay. You can do a little express parking just at the front here. You'll have your coffee within 30 seconds of driving onto the block. So that's the key, those key objectives for our business. We know our customers. We know what they want. So, Musgrave Road at Red Hill is where we are.
That's so good. And that's how I spotted you. I saw you when I was going along, and then so as I mentioned, friends of mine have White Lily Couture, and I was like, and that's where their new store is. So and your colours are perfect together as well.
They're perfect, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
People think we've actually arranged that organiser, but yeah.
Yes, you both look great together. It's really good.
Thank you.
Oh, well, Peter, thank you so much for sharing everything about your tiny business. We're going to now record Pink Sheep Tales, which listeners will be able to hear more about yourself. So where Peter came from, how he evolved into the owner of Black Rabbit Espresso. So that'll be really interesting to find out more about you personally.
Thank you. I'll see if I can enlighten you. I don't know. I didn't think I was that interesting a person.
You are. Yeah, so thanks again, Peter. And we'd love to hear if there's any updates, anything you wanted to let us know, just get in touch and we'll pop it on the Facebook page. If there was a little event or something, do another podcast, you just let us know and we'd love to follow. It's
okay,
really
thank you very much, Christine.
Wow, what a great episode. I would like to thank you for listening, and I really hope you enjoyed this week's discussion. I would like to now invite you over to our exclusive Facebook group, where you as our listeners will be able to interact with us, each other, see photos and additional extras that accompany each episode, and be the first to know what we have coming up. If there is a particular topic you would like to hear more about or someone you think we need to interview, please drop us a line at letstalktinyhouses@gmail.com or via our Facebook group. You can find this podcast series on iTunes, Spotify, or your favourite podcast app. And while you're there, please show your love by giving us a rating. Hopefully it's 5 stars. Our show notes will be available on Podbean along with any podcast corrections and amendments. The Let's Talk Tiny Houses podcast is brought to you by myself, Christine Murphy, and my business, OCD, Organising, Cleaning and Decluttering Specialist, which can be found on Facebook or through my website, ocdpro.com.au. I would like to thank all my co-hosts for their amazing contributions and Joanne Helder for editing all our audio and making us sound so fabulous. Until next week, please take care and enjoy yourself.